welcome back to Campfire Clarity. I'm glad you're here. I've got a message for someone. It might be you. I hope you'll stick around to find out. This message is going to be about a very important transition. Now, as you probably know by now, if you have read my bio or seen some of my other videos, you know that I am transgender. And many people would assume that that is the most profound transition that I've experienced in my life. And, to be honest, it was pretty profound. I have a lot to say about gender transitions, but this reading could be about a gender transition, or it could be about any other kind of significant transition. We all go through a lot of different kinds of transitions in our lives. We do that our entire lives. And so I'm not quite sure if this is a gender transition, but I hope that you'll translate the message to your situation. The person that is coming through in this reading seems to be someone who kind of lives by the rules. Someone who finds it very important to do the right thing. And the right thing can be defined in whatever context you exist in. And so if that is religiously, or if that is educationally, if that is going by data and science, or if it is following calling in the heart, whatever the right thing is to you, it's very important. According to the cards that I've got here, it seems very important for you to do the right thing, which is probably what has created some of this a little, quandary about this transition, because it seems that there are people around you who might think that this decision to transition in this way is not the right thing. So it could be a divorce, and you might come from a tradition where, people stay together for their whole lives. And so it could be seen as not the right thing. Or it could be a gender transition where people around you say that you're, trying to play God with your body. It could be a work transition where you'll have to move away from your hometown, or move away from the people who think it's not a good idea for you to do that. It could be getting into a relationship that people don't approve of. Whatever transition it is, it seems like it's very important for you to do the right thing in your own understanding of what the right thing is, but there's a thing that is happening that is forcing you to re-examine what the right thing is for you. I'm gonna start with tarot cards, and I've also pulled a couple other cards. I've created my own decks, but I want to start with tarot. I use the Biddy Tarot as my foundation tarot deck, and I have a few other decks that I like to use for clarifiers. But this is the Wheel of Fortune card, and for me, it means a passage of time, cycles of life, and it's clarified by the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is a happy, celebratory card. And so what this first combo tells me is that you've pretty much lived your life in a way that you're pretty happy with. There doesn't seem to be a lot of regret in the life that you've lived so far. It's like there have been ups and downs, the circle of, the circle of time, the cycle of time has created just, the right kind of conflict to resolve, relationships to have to navigate, family to deal with, or, things like that. But there doesn't seem to be any tremendous weighty regret, at least in the context of this reading. And so we're starting off pretty well. The next card is the Queen of Pentacles with the Eight of Pentacles as a clarifier. The Queen of Pentacles is a very practical, thoughtful, considerate kind of person who really knows how to take care of their family. Or not even just family, but people that they love, regardless of the gender. I feel like this represents you really focusing on the well-being of people that you love. And the Eight of Pentacles is a card that talks about making things work, putting the work in, perfecting your craft. But in this case, because it's clarifying the Queen of Pentacles, I see it as a card that talks about how throughout your life you have thought about other people, the well-being of people that you love, and you've made it work, and you've been happy with that, and it's worked out pretty well. Then we have it's kind of like a stream, this narrative. We have the Page of Swords, and it is clarified by the King of Wands. Now, the Page of Swords, in the context of this reading, I take to mean there is some expansion happening, a new opportunity as it pertains to a new way of seeing things. The Hanged Man is a card that represents new perspective, a different perspective on something. I see that in a little bit different way than the Page of Swords. I see the Page of Swords as, again, in the context of this reading, as something that has come up, that has challenged something that you have believed to be true, and you are in the process of wrestling with it. It's a relatively new thing that has come up in your life, and you're examining it, and you're trying to figure out, how does this fit in? It's not exactly a foreign concept, whatever it is that is rising up, but it's new. It's still new. It's still like you've experienced it for other people, but not for yourself. And now it's like showing up in your life, and it's maybe a little bit uncomfortable. But the King of Wands is someone who really has a very clear understanding of, I'm getting mentorship. The King of Wands is also a really good entrepreneur, someone who has established that themselves, regardless of gender, someone who has established themselves in a way of life, a way of being in the world, and can not only embrace that life for themselves, but encourage others to embrace it as well. So it's almost like this new thing that's popping up with the Page of Swords is popping up in an area where you've already kind of written the script and memorized the script, right? And now this Page of Swords is showing up, and it's kind of putting a little bit of a wrench in the works. The next card we have is the Hierophant and the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is a card, you can kind of see the card has, kind of a traditional nuclear family, what looks to be man, woman, children, dog. People are smiling, people are happy. It's kind of this combination is kind of putting me in the mind of church. Faith and family kind of mindset, because you have the Hierophant that kind of like talks about an establishment. It doesn't have to be church. It can be university. It can be, kind of like a group or an organization that encourages families to come together, participate together. It could be, there are a lot of, community-based organizations out there, and that's kind of what I'm getting here. So as we continue the narrative, it could be that this thing that's popping up for you is going to affect a wider community around you and not just you. We have the Four of Cups clarified by the Three of Wands. Now, the Four of Cups in this context is giving me an idea of being unsure how to define this thing. But it's almost a feeling of wanting to put it off, not really wanting to decide on a course of action right now. This Three of Wands is kind of a visionary card, seeing things in your future. And the Four of Cups is a card that you can kind of see that this character is, has three cups in front, and another cup is being offered out of the clouds. In my idea for this spread, it kind of feels like the divine is offering this opportunity for another thing, and you're like, I'm good. It's like with that with the first few cards being kind of demonstrating a feeling of, I've got no regrets about how things are going. This feels like it would really kind of rock the boat. The next card is the Eight of Pentacles. Now, we had the Eight of Pentacles as a clarifier already in one of these duos, but now we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is about community. Look at the people there in this card. It's like finding a way to build your own community around something. So you have the Eight of Pentacles building community. So the feeling I'm getting here is that you've got a situation where there's a thing coming up for you, and it's challenging a way of thinking. Now, maybe the way of thinking is yours. Maybe it's people around you, their way of thinking. But the message that I'm getting from my spirit team is that as you ponder, it feels like something that if you move forward with it, you're going to have to step into your own power in order to bring yourself to a place of really experiencing the kind of wish fulfillment that you're hoping for. I feel like the way that your life has been going so far has been preparing you for a situation where you're going to have to step out of the expectations that everybody else has in a situation. And I feel like you're not going to be able to do this by yourself. It's not that you can't do it by yourself. I feel like it's not a good idea to try to take this on by yourself. I drew a bunch of little stick figures on some cards, and they're just simple snapshots of a thing. And the one that I got for this reading is this little character sitting on a therapist's couch, talking to a therapist. And you'll notice that the person's face is actually, smiling, and there's curiosity, and there's excitement, and there is, kind of hashing out an idea. And, this could represent, not necessarily doesn't have to be a therapist. It could be a coach, or it could be a friend, someone who kind of knows your situation and can help direct you in, finding out exactly how to navigate this. We also have a Ace of Diamonds, and in this particular deck of cards that I have drawn up, the Ace of Diamonds represents divine blessing. And in this case, a dream coming true. So what that tells me is this isn't just a tiny little thing that you can put off forever. This is something significant. And this is something that would really catapult you into a new phase of life where a lot of things would come together for you that are not yet coming together. It's almost like there have been periods of your life where you've been coasting, and that has gotten you pretty far. And now I feel like the spirits are saying that something important is coming up for you that you really need to pay attention to and make a decision around. And in order to make the decision that you would need to make, you would have to step out of that comfort zone and into a place of assertiveness. The card that I drew for the Oracle deck, for the Animals Oracle deck that I really love, I'll put the card up here. The card that I drew was the owl. And in the description of the owl that you can find at Beauty Everywhere, in the description of the owl, it talks about being able to perceive things that other people don't perceive. And in order to do this, you have to be still just long enough to be able to observe things going on around you. And it's only then that you make your move. But it's possible that you will have to let something go in order to move forward. One of the things that the owl represents is death, but it's not necessarily the death of a loved one or the death of someone that, is close to you. As you might know from the tarot tradition, death represents transition. It represents evolving from one thing to another thing, or from one place to another place. And so when we go back to, the beginning, where we have, let me find it here. The Hierophant and the Ten of Pentacles. This was the duo that makes me think that what you would be giving up is very dear to you. It's something that you've had in your life for a while. It's an established part of your foundation, and it would be shaken up quite a bit if you were to step into your power and say, this is the direction that I'm going now. Who wants to join me? Joining you may make some people very uncomfortable, because they would have to decide whether joining you in this new direction that you're heading makes sense for them. And sometimes when we make these big transitions in our lives, we have to let some people go because they can't join us, because that's not part of their journey. And yet, if we were to stay in the position that would keep them in our lives, we would be betraying our own journey. And so, I'm thinking about a number of transitions that I've had in my life where the decision to make that transition has cost me relationships. I have had to let some relationships go. I had to let, some institutions, some organizations go. I've had to move away, or I've had to discontinue my interactions with certain people or certain groups. And it's tough. It's not easy, and it's not an easy decision to make. So I feel like as you are embarking on this decision about whether to embrace this transition or to wait a little bit longer, I feel like you are being encouraged to have some conversations with people who know you and who have your best interest at heart, and who can guide you in, exploring, what this means for you. It's an important decision to make, and I hope that something in this reading has brought you some confirmation, one way or another, in how to go about making this decision. So I hope that helps, and I hope that you will reach out to someone to help you make this decision. And I encourage you to, comment below about, what kind of thing you're facing. If this is, if it's something that you would want to talk about publicly. Otherwise, reach out to someone that someone that has your best interest at heart, and have a conversation with them about this transition. It seems to be, according to this reading, it seems to be a pretty important one. So I hope you find clarity in just the right kind of ways. And I hope you join me again next time. Don't forget to subscribe so you'll know when next time is. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.